Walking bass lines are the backbone of countless jazz, blues, and rock tunes. They provide a rhythmic and harmonic foundation that keeps the music moving forward. Out of walking bass lines evolved so many varieties of low-down bass parts and funky melodies. They've just got to be part of every musician's study. So, this week is part 2 of a series on walking bass lines. We're diving into the art of using pentatonics to craft compelling walking bass lines. Whether you're laying down the groove or taking a solo, pentatonics are going to be your new secret weapon. Are you ready? Let's get nerdy. I'm Andy Schneider, career musician turned guitar coach, producer, and author of over 100 books from my publishing company, Seeing Music Books. I was a high school band nerd, then a devoted jazz guy, then a backing musician for great artists in every type of music. From Austin to Nashville to New York City, I've learned from my musical experiences and the great musicians that were there with me. I'm a self-taught guitarist, but I was lucky enough to get the right bits of education early on in my career. Pairing that with the many conversations I've shared with more experienced musicians put me on the path to success, a path that built my skills to become the experienced, confident musician audiences enjoy today. I created the Guitar Nerd podcast to give you simple steps to building and growing your musical knowledge, having greater abilities, and getting that amazing music that's inside of you out and into the world where we can all enjoy it. Whether you're a beginner or experienced guitar or bass player, if you want to make fantastic music, you're in the right place, my friend. Now let's get nerdy. Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back another week. It's Tuesday. It's time for Guitar Nerd. My name is Andy Schneider. I love having you here. Thank you very much for tuning into the show, and thanks to everybody who's been subscribing. Love you much. Our numbers are growing because I think the word may be spreading. Yeah, we can do this. We can build better music together just by talking about the little bits of secret. Are they secrets? They're not going to be. They're not going to be with shows like this. I don't think anything about making music needs to be secret, does it? Why should it be? Let's get it all out in the open. Let's turn the lights on and help everybody in the whole world to make better guitar music. That's what I'm about. Better music, better guitar playing, better world. Easy peasy. This is the place where we talk all the nerdy stuff about guitars and bass, the technique, the equipment. We talk about the theory that's going on behind. I would say this is a theory and a technique show because we're going to be talking about bass lines. We had an episode a couple of weeks ago, part 1 of this series on walking bass lines. It was episode 26. And we talked about the principles of better bass parts, which, of course, great bass parts, great bass lines are rooted in scales. Got to know your minor scale, got to know your major scales, and familiarizing yourself with them kind of helps you be more in tune with the notes that you're going to need to make great bass parts. So it's definitely part of your study that you need to have every week is a little bit of scale work. And we also talked about that the most important notes for almost every bass part ever, the most important notes in the bass player's mind are the root and the fifth. The root and the fifth. If you're talking about either a major or minor scale, that means the first note, the root, and the fifth note, which is called the fifth. It's the fifth degree of the scale, if you want to be technical about it. So the root and the fifth, those are the meat and potatoes of every bass player's entire life. Can I get an amen from my bass players? Amen. By the way, bass lines are not just for bass players. You guitar players know what I'm talking about. Every so often, it's really cool to hear a guitar player go boo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Right? Well, that's a bass line. It's just played on guitar. Guitar is only one octave different from a bass guitar. So everybody needs this. Ask a piano player if they know any good bass lines, and they'll say, yeah, of course I do. Everybody needs to have knowledge of great bass playing and great bass lines because apart from playing chords to propel a song, bass lines are kind of the other way to do it. It's like playing chords because you're playing all of the important notes of the chord just one at a time, not four at a time, not six at a time. So yes, we bass players play chords too. It's just that we play them one at a time and we call them bass lines. Well, this week we're going to take the concept of using scales to build bass lines. We're going to take it one step further. Or maybe I should say we're going to take one step back because an ordinary scale, major or minor, has 7 unique notes plus the octave, that's 8, right? Hence the name octave. It's got oct right there, 8 notes. Well, we're going to be using pentatonic scales. Pentatonic, 5 tones. Pretty simple. It's right there in the name. 5 tones. You can always remember it. And if you haven't studied pentatonics before, they're very easy. The pentatonic scale is a subset of a major scale or a minor scale. Yes, they come in major and minor varieties of pentatonic. So when we're talking about a major pentatonic, we're talking about the root, the second note of the major scale, the third note of the major scale, the 5th and the 6th notes. That's 5 notes. Root, 1, the 2nd, 3rd, the 5th, and the 6th. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 of any major scale. If you can picture a major scale in your mind, throw out the 4th, you throw out the 7th. That is just the pentatonic. And boy, it is the cornerstone to so many great bass parts. Great bass parts in jazz, in blues, in rock, in pop, everything. Pentatonics are also worth knowing because they are the doorway to most people's soloing experience. They're an easy and excellent way to get to the heart of the harmony, of the melody of the song. So they're a super versatile skill to have. Major pentatonic, root, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th. Okay? Minor pentatonic, a little different. Root, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 7th. I know. If you don't have a piece of paper to write these all down, don't worry. It's just important that you hear that there are 5 notes. And in the minor pentatonic, it's a little different. It's 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. And that's, of course, of the minor scale. The major pentatonic comes from the major scale. The minor pentatonic comes from the minor scale. Right? Pretty easy. Lots of people wonder why pentatonics work so well, and I admit it's a bit of magic. But if I have to explain it, I would say that it highlights all of the important notes of both the melody and the harmony. They're all there. Usually, that is the meat and potatoes of the song. So playing them just makes good sense. And it's very hard to find a combination of those notes when you're creating a melody or a bass part. It's hard to find a combination of those that doesn't sound great already, just kind of fresh out of the box. Whatever you need to come up with out of that pentatonic, it's going to work great. So I'm going to get out my trusty bass guitar and give you some little examples and ways to move forward in using pentatonics this week to create better bass parts, to create more interesting and ear-pleasing bass lines. Are you ready? Okay. The first thing that I would encourage everybody to do is to think like a bass player, strategically. What did I say the meat and potatoes of every bass player's life is? It's the root and the 5th. Well, they're both there in pentatonic form. Both the root and the 5th are present in the major or the minor pentatonic. Okay, well, that's great. So if you want an interesting bass part, aim for those 2, and then color it with the rest of the pentatonic. Now further, I'll give you a little bit more strategy. These are things to start with in your mind, saying, I'm going to start crafting my bass part like this. Put the root on the downbeat. That means if your measure is 1, 2, 3, 4, every time you get to 1, hit the root. Every time you get to 3, you count to 3, 1, 2, 3, be playing the 5th. Now, this is just a beginning guideline, but it's a great guideline because you're going to be propelling on the strong beats, 1 and 3. You're going to be propelling the song with the strong harmonic notes. You're going to be playing the strongest bits of harmony on the strongest beats. 1 on 1, root on 1, 5th on the 3rd. Now that's pretty easy. Let me pick up my 6th string. I'll show you what I mean. I've got my trusty 6-string bass here. I built it when I was 21 years old and thought I wanted to build guitars for a living. So I learned a lot by building this guitar. I built it out of Purple Heart, and it's got an actual, I think it's Brazilian rosewood fingerboard. It was back when you could still get those at the wood store, and it just has a great tone that I couldn't afford if I'd walked into a music store. Nice and fat. You got to love that if you're a bass player. Here's how to build a root 5th bass line. So let's just examine the old key of C, right? What's a C major scale? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, that sounds like C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And the root is C, and the 5th note, C, D, E, F, G, is that one. Okay, well, that's pretty easy. Starting to sound like an old country song, isn't it? Okay, those are just 2 notes, and that's, by the way, a little side note. That's why country songs work so well. They're playing the 1st and the 5th. Here comes a pentatonic scale. Out of C major, our pentatonic scale is the what? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th of that C major scale that I just played. So it's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th, and back to the root. That sounds like. Okay, that's kind of a familiar sound, I have a feeling. And if I wanted to make a bass part out of this, I might do something like, let's see, I could choose from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th. I want to get to the 5th on the 3rd, so it's going to go something like, what if I did 1, 3, 5? 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, I'm just walking up the pentatonic scale there by playing the 1st, the 3rd, hitting the 5th on the 3rd beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's pretty easy. Now let's see, let's say I want to do it in C minor. The C minor scale sounds like this. And the pentatonic scale is the 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th. 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th. Okay. Well, boy, I think I almost came up with a bass line right there just by demonstrating what to do, playing the pentatonic scale. In fact, I'm going to go 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th. 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th. Not the worst bass line I ever heard, and that's just a minor pentatonic scale, pretty much being played almost in its entirety. So I was playing the root. Then I said, I'll fill in the blanks here. I'll put a 3rd in there. And then I'll get to the 5th on the 3rd beat, and then the 7th. And then I'm returning up to the root, the octave of the root. Okay. Those are two pretty good bass line starters. I think you can hear where your ear might take you from there. A little bit of rhythmic variety. That'd be nice. In fact, let's just improvise on that C minor pentatonic that I just played. I played. Let's get crazy. Those are just the same notes from the pentatonic scale. It's got a nice adventurous little bounce to it. I might or might not call it walking a bass part, but I liked it. I can absolutely hear the kind of song that it might support, and it's really fun to play, and it's fun to listen to. Building better bass lines using pentatonic scales is as easy as starting by just simply learning your pentatonic scales. Just learn your pentatonic scale, and then apply a little bit of creative imagination, connecting those notes together. As I said before, pentatonic scales sound so great. As long as you start on the root, you're probably going to like almost every combination of notes that you can find on them. Now, that's a powerful tool worth putting in your tool bag. If you're looking to up your scale knowledge, to build better bass parts, to get more in touch with your fretboard, to feel like music is really under your fingers, I invite you to check out my new books. I have two hot off the presses, as this podcast is coming out on Tuesday. I think they're going to be hitting the stores either tonight or tomorrow morning. Two new books for bass scales. They're called Beginner Bass Scales and Exercises, and there's also a Beginner Left-Handed Bass Scales and Exercises. These brand new books are packed with daily scale workouts. They're actually fun to play. Music should be fun, and so should practicing it. These books cover major, minor, even pentatonic scales, which we've been talking about in this episode, the real building blocks of music. And they're not just boring drills. The exercises start slow and easy. Just basic scales, making sure that you've got those under your fingers. Then as you build your abilities, the rhythms start to get pretty interesting and motivating. And the patterns inside of the exercises are going to keep you busy for quite a while. The trick to great musical progress is not burning yourself out. It's not long marathons of practice. Trust me. I mean, there's a time and a place for really woodshedding, but most of the progress I've ever made in my life was by regular progress in an area. So, I've written a book. With just 10 minutes a day, you can make serious progress. These bite-sized workouts are designed to build fluency, strength, control over your fretboard, while making your playing sound better fast. Whether you're starting from scratch or getting back into the groove of bass playing, these books will get your hands moving and your ideas flowing. Check them out now at seeingmusicbooks.com. That's seeing, not hearing, right? Seeingmusicbooks.com. Start mastering that fretboard and all kinds of scale knowledge one at a time. So are you going to be trying some pentatonic scales this week? I hope so. They are really the key to all kinds of improvisation, creating better bass parts, better bass lines, and being able to do so on the fly. The more you practice, the more these things just become sort of like speaking a language. And you're going to hear great bass parts just sort of flow from your imagination to your fretboard and out through your amp. That's really how it works. Once you internalize this stuff, it doesn't become, it becomes something much more than just theory or something that you need to work at to recall. Now, for you more experienced players, this is the point in the show that's just for you. This is where we're going to nerd out. Should I put a little echo on that next time? Nerd out, 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 out. I don't like it already. I don't care for that. This is the point in the show where we get a little bit deeper into it. In case you have played pentatonic scales before and you're thinking, I remember studying that, or I play those occasionally to practice. I'm going to invite you to push further because there's always more to do with scales. I mean, really, 98% of my entire career was revisiting information that I was practicing, especially in high school, playing scales up and down, up and down, up and down, and then finding interesting ways, more musical ways to push myself into doing something creative with it, into doing something musical with it. Exercises can be fun, can be musical, and can stretch your imagination, which is a great thing to do, especially while you're practicing. Here we go. I know that if you're experienced with pentatonic scales, you probably have one favorite way you like to finger them, correct? Like I do. I'll show you mine. If I'm playing C major pentatonic, I play on the, if you're playing a 4-string bass, on the 3rd string, right on the A string, 3rd fret, C. I'm playing that with my 2nd finger. I'm going to stretch my little 4th finger up there to the 5th fret, play D. Now on the next string, I'm going to play E with my 1st finger, and then I'm going to add my 4th finger. So I'm playing 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. That's my fingering pattern, right? 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. Yeah, that's right. So that's my preferred way of playing a major pentatonic scale, and that's because, well, it's the first pattern that I learned of pentatonic scales. But then I thought, I better push myself into another thing because sometimes good bass lines don't really lie under your fingers very well using that pattern. What if I was forced? What if I forced myself to not start on my 2nd finger? I'm going to start on my 1st finger, and I'm going to reach up that string and play that with my 3rd finger, and the 3rd with my 4th finger. Yeah, 3 notes on 1 string. Now going to the next string, I'm going to play the 5th and the 6th with probably my 1st and 4th finger. And up to the 1st. So I played 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, and 1. Ooh, let's just listen to that little bit of melody right there. Now, if I played it back in my original position, sounds a little bit different because I'm playing different notes on the fretboard. So it's got a deeper, more rich sound. That counts for something. And it also lends itself to some different bass parts. You can just more easily play a few variations on that, like. That's very hard for me to play back in the old position. Now, that one just sort of doesn't lie under the fingers. So there's immediately a musical advantage to playing this scale in a different position. Now, I'm going to force myself to start on my 4th finger. I'm going to play the root with my 4th finger. I'm going to play open D, right? Use my 2nd finger for E, play an open G, 2nd finger A. So I'm using my fingers all down in the 1st position, starting on the 4th finger. And I bet you I can pull off a melody here because I've got open strings and the notes just lie in a different way, in a different place. Okay, I could not get it to flow that way in either of the other two positions we tried. So, you advanced players, I encourage you to take the pentatonic scales you know and analyze. Just say, gee, I always start this on my first finger. And then try finding the notes of that scale, forcing yourself to start on a different finger. If you always start on your first, try starting with your fourth. And ask yourself, where will those notes be? If I am not allowed to shift my hand up and down the neck, I have to keep my hand right there. Where would those notes be? And you might be saying, Andy, why would I take the time? Because there's a different melody lying under your fingers. If you're in the business of creating great parts, which I know you are, you're going to want to have every tool available to you. So I encourage you, push yourself to do the same old things in a brand new way. You will see the musical horizons open up, and I guarantee you're going to be playing music that's new, fresh, and exciting for yourself very soon. Using pentatonics to build walking bass lines is just a great strategy. It's a great way to build those down-low melodies in a very musical way, in a way that the ear likes and that supports the song in a musical fashion. Yeah. Next week, we're going to be having another Game Killers episode. Oh, dun, dun, dun. Game Killers. This one is about your guitar or your bass. It's about your axe. Is your guitar holding you back? Very often, our guitar is holding us back, and it doesn't come to light until a little while down the road that, gee, the reason that I don't like my sound, the reason that practicing is difficult is actually this old guitar. It happens. So we're going to be talking about identifying weak points in your guitar, in your tone, and in the gear itself. Things that are holding you back from making the music you want to. Game Killers. Next time. Bass player, you've got great music inside of you. And I have a feeling this week you're going to get out those pentatonics and put them into motion, getting that great music out and into the air. That's where it needs to be. This whole world needs our music, right? Let's get it out. Let's get your music into the world. One little piece at a time will do it. 10 minutes a day will do it. Practice those scales that you've been working, maybe in a new way. Maybe if you've been using your second finger, start with your fourth finger, right? Experiment with pentatonics this week. See how they change your bass lines. See how that changes your music. And listen to your favorite bassists, especially after you've been practicing pentatonics for a while. Listen to your favorite bassists, and I guarantee you're going to hear them using pentatonics as well. Until next time, have a great nerdy week. I'm Andy Schneider, and you've been listening to Guitar Nerd.